and I don't want either of those shot. So that lighting that blinds them gives you the 1 second reaction time, to decide, is this a bad guy or is this a good guy? And this also brings up another good point, that if someone breaks in your house and you shoot them, you're very likely to go to jail for manslaughter. And the reason being is, in order to shoot someone that's in your house, you have to be scared for your life. There has to be a threat that's imminent towards you of taking your life. So you can't just shoot someone for crawling in the window. You better think long and hard about that. You might get away with it if the guy's got a rap sheet real long, but if it's first or second offense and the guy who got shot, although he was doing wrong, his parents decide to take it to court and cry in front of a jury, you may very well end up losing your guns and end up in prison. And you'd rather have the bad guy in prison than you. So I do not recommend being gun happy in that way, I mean, you better think circumstances through. When the cops come in your house after 911 is called, they're going to announce their presence very loudly, I'm sure. You'll see the flashing lights, you'll hear them banging on the door, you'll see them coming in and yelling. And when that happens, that's your first clue that, alright, I'm safe, I've made it through this. You can set your gun on the bed and proceed to, be in a calm state with your hands showing and nothing in them, and announcing that you are the homeowner, because you don't want to get caught up as the bad guy, and you definitely don't want to be pointing a gun when the cop walks around the door. He will shoot you, and that's just for his own protection, So, so in my package, like I said, there'll be 3 of these, and it's very important that there's 3. There's no spotlight. Now you say, why do you even need those? Why don't you just have a flashlight and, use the flashlight? Well, the problem with the flashlight is a pinpointer, and it pinpoints right back to where you're standing, and that's the inferior part of the flashlight. When police use it, and SWAT and the military, they do it a little different because they'll use it in groups of 8 or 12. They're not going solo like you, And if you're walking around the hall trying to clear rooms, when a bad guy's in, you may hear a sound in the kitchen, so you go to investigate, and little do you know his buddy's around the corner, and when you walk around the corner, now you get clubbed in the back of the head and you lose your gun anyway, and that'll tend to lead to a hostage situation. Once they have the guns in their possession and you unconscious, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's going to end up on like America's Most Wanted. You're going to get tied up in your living room and bad things are going to happen. And we definitely don't want that, Bad guys are just like cops. They like to come in and take control of the situation. Just like cops would come in and they put handcuffs on everyone for their own safety, and then they can assess it. Bad guys are going to come in and they're going to bag and tag you, and then that gives them all the time they need to search your house or get any questions out of you or do terrible, despicable things, to your family. So I really hope that this invention will help that out. And a couple of the safety features that I have here are there's a key lock there. And in order for you to take your gun out and practice, which you should do all the time no matter what you have, you're going to be able to take your gun out without arming the system. You don't want to go to the range and the cops are at your house because 911 was called. So it'll have a key lock system, and it has a little pressure plate, so when the gun goes in the holster, it arms it, and then the key lock will come in and block it. So it'll be locked down so you can take your gun in and out without the system moving. Now if you didn't have that key on lock and it'll say armed, it'll definitely tell you. It'll come out, and as soon as it comes out a little bit, I mean, the whole thing goes in motion. All the lights in your house are on, and 911, the cops are on the way. There's no joking about that. And what I'd like to see is this made right here, the block that holds it, I'd like to see that made of solid metal, whether it be lightweight aluminum or whatever, something that's really tough. What I have here for the actual trigger itself as a guard is steel braided line, so that if you're not home and a criminal comes in, he cannot disable the system. And what I also have is, although it has a plug-in accessory that keeps it powered, it'll also have battery backup. And that battery backup will be underneath the system, and when you open the door, it'll have the same thing. It'll have the same key that's there. It'll have there. So you can arm or unarm it. So you can unarm it to change out the battery if you need. The battery backup will probably last, I would guess, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, say, if the power goes out or a bad guy comes in and sees the whole system and think he can just snip the cord. And it'll have the antenna, and it'll probably have a range between 150 and 300 feet. So the actual base unit will look just like an actual answering machine. It'll have play and record, so you record your message and then you can play it back, and that's the only two buttons it has. But like I said, you want to probably call an electrician out, and cut a hole in the wall and mount it in the wall. That way there's no possible way that they can get your gun. Even if you're not there, they cannot get your gun, even though it's out in the open, without setting off the system. There's no way. Even if they could pull apart that, as soon as they pull apart, it's going to pull that trigger. If they try to go to the access panel, that's going to set it off too. And so this is part 2 of the video. I'm open to questions. If you look up over here, you'll see my my MySpace page, my home phone number, every way you can get in contact with me. I'm really open to suggestions, but I really think, thinking this through, that this is one of the best chances of survival, and the reason being is because you're immediately pulling your gun, and as soon as that happens, you're able to go into a position by your bed and defend your home. So we'll go on to part 3 of the video now, and thank you for watching.